How much can your SMSF actually borrow for property? Most trustees are surprised to learn there's a leverage limit they never knew existed. In this video, we reveal the exact LVR limits, how lenders assess your fund, and the compliance rules that protect your retirement savings. Let's dive in.
All right, let's jump right in. Today we are tackling a huge question for anyone with a self-managed super fund who's thinking about buying property. What's the real limit on how much you can borrow? Getting this right isn't just some minor detail. It is absolutely the key to a successful retirement strategy. So here it is, the big one. How much can your SMSF actually borrow? It sounds like a simple question, right? But believe me, the answer is way more complex than you'd think. And getting it wrong? Well, that can have some pretty serious consequences for your financial future. Honestly, it's like a financial tightrope walk. You lean a little too far one way, and you could be leaving massive growth on the table. But lean too far the other way, and you're putting your entire retirement fund at risk. The whole game is about finding that perfect sweet spot right in the middle. But hey, don't worry, we're going to break this all down for you. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk you through this whole maze step by step. We'll start with the basic rules, dive into the real-world limits, and then get into the smart strategies that can make all the difference. Okay, let's kick things off with that big borrowing question. Getting clear on this is really the first step to building a retirement plan you can feel good about. So, first things first, how is it even possible for a super fund to get a loan? Well, it all comes down to this really clever financial structure that actually creates a powerful safety net for your investments. This is the foundation of the whole thing. It's called a limited recourse borrowing arrangement, or an LRBA for short. And here's the really brilliant part. If something goes sideways with that loan, the lender can only come after the property the loan is for. It's like a financial firewall, keeping the rest of your super safe and sound. So here's a quick look at how it actually plays out. You find the property you want, you get an LRBA loan, and, now this is the really crucial part, a totally separate holding trust is what buys the asset. Your SMS doesn't technically own that property until every last cent of the loan is paid off. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? An LRBA is a tool that lets your super fund punch above its weight. You get to acquire a really valuable asset, all while keeping the risk totally contained to just that one investment. Okay, time for the main event. What are your real borrowing limits? Because as you're about to see, it's not as simple as just one magic number or a single percentage. The very first hurdle you're going to face is something called the loan-to-value ratio, or LVR. Now, lenders are always a bit more cautious with SMSF loans, which makes sense. So they'll usually only lend you about 70 to 80% of the property's value. It's a buffer that protects them and you from any big market swings. Let's make this real with some numbers. Say you're looking at a $750,000 property. At an 80% LVR, the most you can borrow is $600,000. That means your SMSF has to have that $150,000 deposit ready to go, plus, and don't forget this part, extra cash for all the other costs like stamp duty and legal fees. So, you've got the deposits sitting in your fund. You're all set, right? Good to go? Well, not quite. See, there's another really important guideline here. Your total borrowing shouldn't be more than your fund's net assets, which is just a fancy way of saying what your fund owns minus what it owes. It's just a common sense rule to make sure your fund doesn't get way too top-heavy with debt. Okay, so you've crunched the numbers and it all seems to work. But lenders, they need to see more than that. They need to feel really confident that your fund can comfortably handle those loan repayments for the long haul. So what exactly are they looking for? Well, they want to see a healthy cash buffer in the fund. They want to see solid, reliable income streams from things like rent. Consistent contributions from you, the members, is a huge plus. And having a well-diversified portfolio, that's a big green flag for them. Now, we're moving on to what might just be the most critical part of this whole discussion. Getting the loan is one thing, but keeping the Australian Taxation Office happy, that is everything. These are the rules you just cannot afford to ignore. These right here are the golden rules. The sole purpose test means the property has to be for your retirement, not your personal holiday home. All deals have to be at arm's length, so no sneaky good deals with family members. And the single acquirable asset rule is important. You can't use one loan to buy a block of land and then build a house on it. And why is all this so incredibly important? Well, because the penalty for getting it wrong is just severe. If the ATO decides your fund is non-complying, it can get slammed with an additional tax of up to 45% on its assets. I mean, that is an absolutely catastrophic outcome for any retirement plan. So we've covered the rules, we've looked at the risks, we've gone through the requirements. Now, let's flip the script and talk about the rewards. It's time to stop thinking just about limits and start thinking about possibilities. If you only remember one thing from today, please make it this. The goal isn't to borrow the absolute maximum amount possible. It's to borrow the smartest amount. You need to think of leverage as a precision tool for building a secure and prosperous retirement.
So before you take that next step, here are the final crucial questions you have to ask yourself. First, is this loan amount truly sustainable for my fund's cash flow, not just next month, but year after year? And second, does this investment keep my portfolio properly diversified, or am I putting way too many of my retirement eggs into one basket? Answering those two questions honestly, that's the real secret to success here.